I'd always heard stories, oh, Risky, that guy's crazy, Risky, that guy did this, Risky, that guy did this. It always seemed whatever stories people were telling about Risky, Risky was one of the first people to do something. Risky was being admired, looked at for being crazy, looked at for being an innovator, really just looked at often as doing something before other people did, and that was how the stories often went. If there was a boat and everybody was jumping off of it, Risky probably did it first.
My day consisted of driving around, stealing paint by the hundreds of cans. I was a problem kid, you know, like surfing and graffiti probably saved my life.
Look into the darkest spot.
The first time I remember seeing Risk Graffiti was probably in a magazine I bought at Tower Records in 1992. Every Risk piece had a unique color palette, sets of bubbles, sets of diamonds, sets of fades. Risk pieces were big and bold and you could read them, yet they still had enough character and style that you knew they came from somewhere.
You ain't seen the thing I see.
Oh, I love this piece, man, the 101, that sign with the lights. That's before like the vandalism really like had its peak and they didn't know what to do. Because I painted over the light bulbs, they were like, what did you do? So that lasted for like months. It's probably 1985.
When Risk is learning to write graffiti and really becoming a king himself, they're painting with Krylon, they're painting with Rust-Oleum, they're painting with whatever off-brands they can get or steal from the local hardware stores.
There's the one piece in there somewhere probably that says thank you Krylon. You know, we stole paint all day long. I saw all the different brands. And Krylon had, you know, 10, 15, 20 colors or whatever it was. And there were the great colors, you know. We're like, wow, thank God for Krylon, because if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have shit. And it's crazy, you know, but we only had, you know, that little limited color palette. So you learn to be really creative with what you have.
Remember that the graffiti writers that are coming out with Risk, they're teaching themselves, they're learning from each other. They're really at the forefront of Los Angeles graffiti. I make a lot of books. I knew Risky, for whatever reason, was really lucky and was able to always take photos and collect photos through the years and able to hold on to them, which is so rare for most graffiti writers. And I was working on the History of American Graffiti book, and I knew he had just a great archive of LA photos. I knew they were safe and sitting there and he wasn't doing anything with them. And I knew he wanted to make a book too, so it just made sense.
This is it?
This is the book.
On and off over 2 years, we scanned all of his photos, all of his black books, all of his ephemera, and documented it, archived it, and put it together for him.
Louisiana, my backyard. Growing up, it's my mom. Yeah, this is my parents' divorce papers. You know, it's funny. I'm looking at this book. My father died a year ago today. So he never got to see the book. But we did reconcile on his deathbed. I wish he could have saw it. This is my grandfather out in front of his club, which is a strip joint in New Orleans. I almost got killed over that piece. That piece. I went over a gang and I thought I could talk my way out of it and almost got killed. You can read about it. I'm not gonna talk about it.
The environment that Risk came up in, painting graffiti, learning about graffiti, pushing his graffiti, was so much different than the environment today. The environment then, when you wanted to see what was going on, you drive there and you see it. Maybe someone has a photo, maybe someone tells you what they saw. You had to take the bus to get somewhere.
There was no environment, so to speak. You know, we didn't have internet or you know, social media or all that stuff. Graffiti wasn't accepted. What, baby?
Apple TV?
No, we definitely didn't have Apple TV. And it was a secret subculture. You know, we didn't really want people knowing that we did graffiti. You know, it was illegal. getting up. Planned hitchhiking to New York to bomb trains, and I made my way out to New York with Dante, and he introduced me to Reese and Ghost and Ket and Chino and Vin and all these guys, and you know, he's kind of like, don't hang out with those guys, bad news, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, that's exactly where I want to hang out. And he kind of just left me, and I was there for a couple weeks on my own with these guys, just crashing on Reese's couch and bombing. And I just bombed trains. That's in the yard somewhere. This is fucked up. This is, we weren't that bright. You know, we were like running fast and hard and not thinking a lot. And one night we're like, let's go to the airport and bomb planes. And we made it to the Santa Monica airport, which doesn't even really have commercial planes, but we bombed planes. Bus yard, hitting buses. I love that. They never ran, but you know, every once in a while you get nice photos like this. I mean, listen, it's a different day and age. We were so brazen. We were doing ads on buses. This is Can Control magazine. And they asked me to paint an ad, and I did it. Graffiti was just like art is to me now, full time. Rather than all these different forms of art I do now, it was all graffiti. So that's all I did, you know, like 24/7. Oh, shit. This is my first solo show. Roger actually curated this show. 26, because I was doing graffiti 26 years, and there's 26 letters in the alphabet, and I did a canvas of each letter. This is some stuff I did with Shepard. This is the wall with Shepard at Art Basel in Miami. This is that same trip to Miami, just some more walls. My family. You know, I owe my family everything because they keep me on the rails. They keep me on track because I've been known to veer off a little bit, but I don't have time to veer off now. I got to support them. Good times, man. Good people right here. That was a fun wall with REVOK. We always have fun painting together. This is quite appropriate at the time. We were both in a lot of legal problems, so it's a courthouse, and we wrote not guilty.
Left her on her own, but she's doing it alone, 'cause she loves him like you wouldn't believe. It's been a long time since I was faithful.
The Risky book is over 700 photos, most of them never seen before, over 25,000 words. It's very personal. It's much more than a story about graffiti. It tells the story from a kid in Los Angeles who's into surfing and running around with his friends, to a kid who learns to write graffiti, to someone who starts a huge clothing company, one of the first streetwear brands out of Los Angeles, to someone who becomes a well-known artist.
It's been a long time since I was faithful. It's been a long time since I was grateful. It's been a long time since
It's emotional, man. You know, I see a lot of shit. He snuck a lot of photos in here that I haven't seen. It's awesome for me. You know, it's a trip down memory lane. It's like, you know, it's my life. But he did a fucking hell of a job. Thank you, Roger Gastman. Thank you very much. And thank you, One Time Run. Thanks, everybody. It's awesome.